On today's show, we walk the prairie with members of the Nature Conservancy, an organization dedicated to protecting our dwindling native landscapes.
Prairies are the least protected and most threatened habitat type anywhere.
Mother Nature can't keep Chris Granrud from clocking in. This angler gave up corporate life to tackle the world of guiding.
I'm going to go north and I'm going to do this.
And we get you ready for fall hikes and hunts with a fun snack to throw in your backpack.
Very good.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hey there, Laura and I welcome you to the show.
700,000 acres and counting. That's how much wild land the Nature Conservancy has protected in Minnesota alone.
Ron Schara set out to figure out what this nonprofit is all about.
The organization's goal? To ensure that both people and nature thrive.
The mission of the Nature Conservancy is to conserve the lands and waters on which all life depends.
There's 250 species of flowers on a healthy prairie.
Those lands and waters are not just critical for nature, but they're critical for all the people who live on this planet.
We need to save these prairies.
Emily Dickinson once noted, "To make a prairie, it takes a clover and one bee and reverie." I might add, it also takes the Nature Conservancy. Since 1951, the Nature Conservancy, a national organization, has been preserving or restoring the busy work of bees, working to save America's prairies. And it hasn't been easy.
We are definitely concerned at the Nature Conservancy and our many partners with losing the war. And so what we're doing is just redoubling our efforts, being as strategic as we can. Our impact in Minnesota, I think, has been tremendous. We have protected almost 700,000 acres of land, including some of the best forest, prairies, wetlands, lakes, rivers, and streams that we have in this state.
On a late summer day, Matt Gravy is leading a gathering of prairie seed pickers at a place near Sunburg, Minnesota. The prairie is called Ordway Prairie.
We've hired a team of interns and a couple staff to collect prairie seed for the entire growing season. And that way we can try to collect that whole suite of species and get all of those species into our seed mix in the restorations. Those restorations then can be more valuable to wildlife.
Folks who love prairies love them for all the right reasons.
This one here at Ordway Prairie, where we have over 300 species of vascular plants, provide basically a smorgasbord of food for wildlife.
So why has America lost so much prairie?
Because prairies are the least protected and most threatened habitat type anywhere, more threatened actually than the rainforests are. We encourage people to go out and visit them, to hike, to enjoy all that is there, to birdwatch.
Many acres of Nature Conservancy prairie also are open to upland bird hunting. However, preserving and appreciating Minnesota prairies is only half the story. Prairies also need lots of TLC.
So prairie evolved with three kind of main disturbance mechanisms. First is grazing. Historically, that was bison and elk. The second is fire, and then the third is drought. Well, we can't really do much about the climactic cycle, but we can do something to replicate both the grazing impacts and the fire, and those are the tools that we primarily use to try and make sure that that prairie stays in place and doesn't turn into a forest.
And so the struggle to save our prairies goes on, and it is a struggle. Lots of defeats, a few victories, but you'll never see a white flag from the Nature Conservancy.
go out and visit a prairie and walk around on it, gain a better appreciation for what it actually is. Some of the best remaining prairies are owned and open to the public by the Nature Conservancy. You can see them on our website, nature.org.
More foot soldiers needed, always.
Coming up next, we leave the prairie behind to tackle rough water alongside Minnesota's up-and-coming Big Fish Guide.
Everybody wants to be a fishing guide when it's 75 and about a 7-mile-an-hour wind and the fish are biting.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Aluma Trailers, Ice Castle Fish House and RV, and by Coors Light.
As the old saying goes, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Travis Frank met a man who left corporate life behind to start his own business. Meet Captain Chris Granrud.
Chris Granrud lives for rainy days. From his perch overlooking Rainy Lake, he mentally prepares for another day on the water.
Every day is a good day to be a fishing guide.
Rain or shine, Chris always packs positivity and his shore lunch kit.
This is where it all happens. It's the magic box. I'm a fishing addict, there's no question about it.
He's a fishing addict living out his childhood dream.
I love it. I do love it, yeah.
He loves this big water and the challenges that come with it.
So you want to be a fishing guide, huh?
Everybody wants to be a fishing guide when it's 75 and about a 7-mile-an-hour wind and the fish are biting.
Not when it's rocking and rolling like this.
Well, find a weapon. The name of the guide service is Rainy Daze Guide Service. I'll get that net ready. I'm sure you're going to need it. And I started this about 13 years ago. So we should be getting pretty good at it by now. Boy, there are a lot of fish there, Travis. We're right on those fish.
Over the years,
Here we go. Attaboy.
he's perfected his craft.
Nice fish.
Oh yeah.
Nice. That's a beauty, buddy.
Matching unforgettable fishing experiences
Gold and black.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
with his contagious personality.
Send your smaller brothers for shore lunch and your grandma for pictures.
That's beautiful right there.
But Chris's fishing story didn't begin here. In fact, it started on the opposite end of Minnesota. In the small southern town of Zumbrota, he grew up selling worms to fund his fishing passion. A natural entrepreneur, his career path changed with time, but his desire to fish always stayed the same.
I owned a business in southern Minnesota. We had roughly 30 employees. It was a busy restaurant, it was a busy bar, it was a busy bowling center, and I would literally, like so many other people, would work 80, 90 hours a week to come up and sneak up north to fish for 24 hours or 48 hours.
With each trip, he fell more in love with Rainy Lake.
There you go.
And I said, okay, that's enough. I'm gonna go north and I'm gonna do this.
Chris sold his business and became a full-time fishing guide.
I'll be honest with you, I mean, there were many days when I first got started that like, boy, I mean, did I make a mistake? I didn't have any room for error, frankly. My daughter was young, I mean, so I rolled, in all honesty, I rolled her college education. I rolled our future on a boyish dream.
His gamble paid off.
Attaboy, attaboy. That's what it's all about, buddy. Never gets old.
Rainy Daze Guide Service grew beyond his wildest dreams.
We actually have 10 captains now. We'll run close to 500 trips here just in the open water season. It's not my passion, it's our passion, and it's not my business, it's definitely our business. That feels like it might actually be the shore luncher. 16 1/4 means that he's not going to ever be 16 1/2. It is work. I mean, like, the weather tires you out. No sleep, that just makes you tired. But we're fishing for a living, and it's hard to put a price tag on that.
Not to mention the price tag on a walleye shore lunch that brings each day full circle.
Bacon and onion sandwiches. It won't extend your life, but you're gonna love it, I promise.
It's easy to see why Chris lives for rainy days.
I've got woods in the background. I've got walleyes in the front. It would be tough to draw it up much better, but it's pretty close to perfect.
Easy snack to take with you.
Still ahead, we get you ready for fall adventures with a great snack to throw in your backpack. And later, meet the sewer man who long ago helped save a Minnesota trout stream.
Closed captioning provided by Star Bank.
Today we're getting wild in the kitchen, and we're actually not using wild game today. We're roasting nuts. We want to give you a simple recipe that you can take in the deer stand, hiking, you name it. And I'm here with Tasha Kellen with Isidore Nut Company. And Tasha, we're gonna roast some nuts today?
Yes, we are, Laura.
I'm so excited because I heard the recipe is called the Bold North recipe.
Isn't that perfect for us here in the north?
It sure is. And what are some of the ingredients that we're using today?
We're using a combination of pepitas and almonds and pecans.
We should note that these are raw nuts, ladies and gentlemen. These are not already roasted, right?
Exactly. So, Laura, why don't you take our bowl of raw nuts?
Raw nuts. And how many cups are in here?
So there's about 2 cups. So let's grab the olive oil, drizzle it on in there. And we're gonna use our maple syrup. So go ahead and drizzle in about 2 to 3 tablespoons, kind of your comfort level of sweetness.
Well, I would just keep going if it was my comfort level, but we'll manage it appropriately here.
We've got some spices that we're gonna add next.
Okay.
So that's a combination of cinnamon and nutmeg. So it's about 1/2 teaspoon of each. Go ahead and sprinkle that in. Next, we're gonna add our spice. So this is what gives it its Bold North name.
We're adding a little heat today.
Yes, we are. So this is a combination of black pepper, chili pepper, and cayenne pepper.
So we're adding a little bit of sweet and a little bit of savory.
And last, we'll add the salt. Sea salt was perfect, or you can use regular table salt. We can stir it all up.
Stir it all up.
So you just want to make sure that the maple syrup and the olive oil coat all the nuts with the spices, and it just a nice glossy look to the whole mixture.
So not only does this look delicious, I'm sure it tastes delicious, but it's pretty healthy for you.
It is very healthy, perfect for when you're going on the trail or you want to take to the deer stand, just an easy snack to take with you. So go ahead and just put all that onto the tray.
All right,
Great.
that looks good.
Yeah, this looks beautiful. We're gonna roast this in the oven for about 6.5 minutes. We'll take it out.
Gently stir, I assume?
Yeah, just so that we're incorporating the spices, and we're actually gonna be putting them back in the oven.
For another 6.5?
For another 6.5.
Smells so good.
So you can see they browned up nicely.
Yes, I can.
We're gonna add in a little bit of extra salt. Just sprinkle it right on the top. And take advantage of having your parchment paper and then sliding it right into your bowl.
Okay, so I'm going in for a taste test here because this looks delicious.
Good.
Very good.
Oh, good.
You can taste the cayenne a little bit. So there you have it, an easy Bold North nut mix recipe for you to take out in the field or wherever nature may take you.
Coming up next, we go back in time to the town of Chatfield to meet a Minnesota-bound classic. Pete the sewer man loves trout fishing.
That something has been done to save the earth.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Moen's Mouse Mix, and powered by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic takes Ron Schara to Bluff Country and the trout town called Chatfield.
A place where long ago he met the sewer man.
This is Main Street, Chatfield, Minnesota. It's a small town with a trout stream for a suburb. Mill Creek flows a short cast away from the main drag. Between the street and the creek, there's quite a story here.
Good afternoon, Pete speaking.
Meet Robert Peterson.
Hi.
Town folks know him as Pete. For nearly 30 years, Pete's held just about every job there is in Chatfield. From sweeping streets to his current job as Community Resource Director.
No job is too little, is a philosophy that he might teach you, either by practice or by words. And he's taught a lot of us here. We're willing to watch and to listen and to learn.
You see, Pete has proven once more what America is all about. 7 years ago, Chatfield's sewer man turned into Chatfield's mover and shaker.
When I saw that the creek was, you might say, taking over, in other words, it was running, it was flowing, let's say, where it wasn't really supposed to flow. It was taking way too much of our soil, of our park. So I contacted the DNR about what can we do, what can be done to alleviate the problem of losing our park and also at the same time improve trout fishing, which is very dear to my heart.
So began Pete's goal to save Mill Creek Park.
It's the kind of stuff that the DNR is doing in southeastern Minnesota. It's just a real good showcase of what we can do when we work together with everybody down here to benefit the resource.
With Pete pushing, the city and the DNR teamed up for a $65,000 project to stabilize and beautify the banks of Mill Creek.
The abundance of trout in this stretch of Mill Creek has probably increased by 200, 300%, so helped a lot.
This has to rate right up at the top of my 29 years of working for the city. It's just nice to know that that something has been done to save the earth, save everything, and I literally mean that, because the dirt that we got here right now that I'm sitting on wouldn't have been here if we wouldn't have done what we with the bank. It would have been gone.
He's a person who cares. He cares about people and he cares about things, and that creek and this town are right at the top of his list.
Well, I wouldn't really want to be the one to say that it wouldn't have gotten done. No, I mean somebody else would have picked it up and done it, I guess. But I really, I'm just tickled pink the way it turned out.
So now you know why Mill Creek is such a popular fishing hole every year when Minnesota's trout season opens. Pete throws a pancake breakfast and invites the kids.
So I thought, well, let's have a breakfast and a little contest or something, get people involved and get mom and dads or dads when their kids out and fish for a day and make a family outing instead of letting them go on their own. And it's really worked out great. It's a two-fold deal. I thoroughly enjoy trout fishing. And along with that, I thoroughly enjoy seeing kids coming down on their bicycle with their pole on their bike in the summertime, coming down here and literally fishing. And every once in a while, you'll see them go home with one hanging on their handlebars, proud as the dickens.
He was real concerned about the youth in Chatfield, that they'd have a place like this, so maybe they have an opportunity to come down here and catch a few more fish, make it more worth the kids' while to come down here, keep them off the streets, and hopefully in the future you've got somebody that might grow up to be just like Pete.
Even now, Mill Creek remains one of our state's premier trout streams.
Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors. Maybe on the trout stream.
That's a good idea.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.